saw that. You want to share?
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I am joined at the podium by the Somerville Police Chief Bedford, Captain Levy of the Somerville Police Department, Dave Solid, the Chief of our Cold Case Unit, and Detective Lieutenant William Donahue of the State Police assigned to our office. I am announcing this afternoon that just a few days after the 16th anniversary of the death of Charline Rosemond, we today identified and charged a person with her murder. Hensky Anna Creon, who is 38 years old, of Malden, was indicted for murder for the shooting and killing of Charline Rosemond in her father's car in a parking lot in Somerville in 2009. What we know about this case is that on April 3rd of 2009, Charline, who had been looking for a new car, had told friends that she had a friend who was going to connect her with the kind of car that she wanted at a good price, went to the bank. You can see at the top of that poster, on April 3rd, she went to the bank, she withdrew $4,100 that she was going to use to buy that car. On April 7th, Charline, who was then 23, left her workplace at the end of the workday. She exchanged text messages with a friend. She continued to be texting with friends up until about 9:15 that evening, and she suddenly stopped replying. She never returned to her Everett home, which was extraordinarily unusual for her that evening. Her tight-knit family immediately reported her as a missing person, but despite their efforts to contact friends, to locate her, to find her father's car, which she had used to go to work while she was waiting to buy her own car, they spent 6 agonizing days not knowing where she was. On April 13th of 2009, Charline's body was found in a parking lot behind a variety store in Union Square in Somerville. She was slumped in the driver's seat of her father's car. She had been shot in the head from behind, the bullet going right through the headrest of the driver's seat. The investigation revealed that, as I said, she had intended to buy a used black Lexus. And part of what she had told her friends was that in order to get the good deal she anticipated getting on the car, she would have to pay cash. That's why she had made that large cash withdrawal. There was no cash found with her at the time her body was found, suggesting that the motive was robbery. Investigators learned that the victim had been in negotiation with someone who she considered one of her closest friends, an individual named Roberto June, who is now deceased, and a third party, later identified as Mr. Anacreon, to make the purchase of that car. In interviews with the police in the ensuing days after her disappearance, both June and Anacreon denied that they had been involved in her death, denied having any knowledge about what had happened to her. A search warrant was executed at Mr. June's residence, and it did not recover a firearm, but it did recover 2 hard cases used to store firearms, a pair of latex gloves. June did not have a license to possess firearms and did not work in the medical field, so there was no ready explanation for possession of either of those. Also recovered during that execution of that search warrant was an empty bottle of Moet champagne, which you see in that photograph. And it was located in the spot on that upper shelf, which you can see on the right photograph. We later learned that Mr. Anacreon worked in an off-the-books capacity for a Somerville-based used car dealership. In that capacity, he had access to the car you see depicted in the bottom photograph, which is a 2001 Lexus GS 300, exactly the type of car that Ms. Richmond had been telling her friends and family she would be buying. Mr. Anacreon had been observed driving that Lexus in April of 2009 and had told his employer that he was showing it to someone to whom he intended to sell it. However, Mr. Anacreon's employer, who owned that used car lot, did not have a cash-only rule. He routinely accepted bank checks and other forms of payment when he sold a car. There was a lengthy grand jury investigation conducted in this case. Witnesses were identified who revealed that Jude and Creon had lied to the police when claiming that they had no knowledge. Mr. Anacreon had also allegedly told folks that he had disposed of the murder weapon, the gun that was used on Miss Rosemond, by throwing it in the river. State Police Crime Scene Services investigators carefully examined the interior of the Honda, the car owned by Miss Richmond's father, in which she had been found. Analysis indicated that Roberto Jude was a potential contributor to a DNA swab mixture that was recovered on the passenger side interior door handle. Although that was itself not significant, since Mr. Jude was a friend of Miss Richmond, it was part of indicating where people might have been on that evening. Investigators also learned that on the night of April 7th, 2009, in the immediate aftermath of the shooting of Miss Richmond, Jude and Anacreon had shared a celebratory bottle of Moet champagne, consistent with the bottle that was recovered during the execution of that search warrant. The defendant allegedly continued to try to conceal his involvement in this incident from prosecutors and police. Evidence that was gathered indicated that he knowingly and intentionally calculated to obstruct this investigation, telling Miss Richmond's family as well as investigators that he had no idea about what had happened, had not been present, did not know any of this. Charline Rosemond was a promising and hardworking young woman who wanted only to buy a new car. She had her whole life ahead of her. That life was tragically cut short by the shooting that took place in Union Square. This case is important because we've now been able to begin the process of holding accountable Mr. Anacreon. As I indicated, Mr. Jude himself died of natural causes a number of years ago and is not charged, but we are confident that the evidence would indicate, had he not passed away, that he was also involved in this incident. So it is important with respect to this particular case, but on a greater level, it is an indication of our continuing commitment, as we've indicated for a number of years, and what led to the creation of our cold case unit. When you come into Middlesex County and take someone's life or commit another serious felony, we do not forget and we do not give up. And I know that there are families who are still waiting for a call like the call we were able to make earlier today to Miss Richmond's family, to tell them that despite the passage of 16 years, we were now able to begin that journey to accountability. But it is a testament to the work of the detectives in this case, who never gave up on looking. It is a testament to the work of Dave Solid and our cold case unit, hundreds and hundreds of hours of piecing this investigation together to get to that place. And it is another in the litany of cases that we are being able to get to answers for families and accountability for folks decades after the crimes have been committed. I'm going to turn it over to Chief Bedford, and they'll be happy to take a few questions.
Thank you, DA Ryan. I want to start by continuing to extend our thoughts to the victim and the family. And I want to humanize her by calling her name Charline Rosemond. Today's indictment is one step closer to bringing us closure for the family and for our community, who has a value set that does not endorse any form of violence. We look forward to continuing to be a partner and working hard with our partners here at the District Attorney's Office, as well as with other law enforcement and criminal justice partners, in bringing those accountable to justice. I want to close by recognizing the tremendous work of members of the Somerville Police Department. I am joined here today by Captain Levy, who is our commander of our Criminal Investigation Division. I want to recognize our partners at the State Police, District Attorney Ryan, the Cold Case Unit, and many of the unstated professionals that have worked hard over the years to bring this case to the courts and hopefully bring those responsible to justice. We pledge to continue to work hard, collaboratively, in pursuit of justice, and certainly looking forward to the day where there is a conviction and holding all all of those accountable for this heinous act. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a few questions.
DA, it sounded like there was a lot of evidence early on, really strong leads early on. What took so long to get to today?
Many times, and I've talked about this often, we many times have a suspicion. Patricia Clark is a good example. The night that that case happened, we had a suspicion with respect to who might be responsible. We are held to the standard of once we arrest someone, once we charge them, the clock starts to run. And also, once we go forward and begin a trial, double jeopardy attaches. So we need to be certain when we move forward. It is a momentous thing in anyone's life for us to be charging them with murder. We do that thoughtfully and when we are certain that we have the evidence to go forward. That is a long way from the initial suspicion. In this case, yes, there were thoughts in the beginning. There was lots of good work done, lots of good forensic work. The police officers were thorough in going through that car and doing those search warrants, in talking to people. We did not have enough to meet that high burden. And it has taken us this time in going through this case and getting to a place where we are confident and able to get this indictment today.
Are there any challenges prosecuting a case that's this old? You're talking about another person, a potential second defendant who is no longer alive. Can you talk about some of the challenges bringing this to the courts?
Well, obviously there are challenges. We are fortunate in this case, and we were able to flesh that out during the grand jury presentation. We have people that we are comfortable, we will be able to call or use testimony from in the prosecution of this case. So we stand very firmly where we are. We are very certain about the evidence we've developed, this indictment, and going forward to trial.
I know for families, it can feel like nothing's happening, the case has gone cold, nobody's looking at it, nobody's following up on it. Can you talk about how that may not be necessarily the case just because families can't see it, the public can't see that there isn't work being done?
Thank you, that's a good question, because that is why we bring that chart with us. Because when we come in and we say we've made an arrest, we've gotten an indictment, people see where we are in that particular case. What they don't see, what I referenced earlier, the hundreds of hours, the thousands of tests and other pieces of evidence that are done. Effort does not always equal result. Many times we talk to lots of people, we test things, we search things, and we don't find things that are either particularly helpful or they're not strong enough to get us to where we are. That in no way means that that case is not being worked on. And we have made a commitment in this office that we will not give up on these cases. And I think we've met that commitment, as you can see in our list of cases. And that is the message that I feel as strongly about as the message to the Richmond family, is that for those families who are still waiting, we continue to look. Thank you for being with us.